This is exactly where you want to be.
The Rookie. Wednesdays from 9 on Sky Mix.
Welcome back. Now, the government is to pledge to build 3 new towns in England before the next general election. The Housing Secretary will make the announcement official at a conference a little later on, which is taking place as there's continued pressure on the Prime Minister. Well, let's speak to the Shadow Housing Secretary, Sir James Cleverly, for his take on the morning's news. Sir James, thanks very much for being with us. Always good to speak with you. I will talk to you a little bit about those housing plans for the Labour government. They say they're going to build some new towns, and it's much needed as we have a housing shortage crisis.
Well, look, they could promise a free unicorn for every child, and it would have more credibility than these new towns that they're promising. Remember, they started off by promising 1.5 million new homes. They are woefully off target on that. The Housing Secretary claims that he wants to build, baby, build, unless, of course, it's in his own constituency, in which case he wants to block, baby, block. The Chancellor has put up taxes on employers, has put up taxes in a whole load of areas with regard to business. The Prime Minister this morning refused to rule out an increase in VAT. All these things are hampering the country's ability to build homes that people need. So frankly, these 3 new towns are even less credible than the 1.5 million homes that the Labour government is already failing to deliver.
OK, well, the Conservative government didn't make their housing targets either, as you well know. So now we've got that out of the way. Let's talk about some of the polling.
Hang on.
Do you make your point,
if
and then I'll
make
ask
a point,
some questions.
Let me respond.
Go on.
The point is, the rate of house building has fallen dramatically, and one of the reasons is because in Labour-run areas, including London, which was woefully, it's the worst performer, Labour-run London, worst performer. Andy Burnham in Manchester promised 10,000 council houses. You know how many he built? 10.
Okay.
So Labour failures in local government have a ripple effect.
We'll judge them after their time in office, 15 months for now. You had 14 years and you didn't meet your targets. Let's move on to polling. The latest polling
Andy
shows...
Burnham has been
the latest
mayor
polling,
of Manchester.
Sir James, please, come on. We're not going to talk over each other. Let me ask you the questions.
Well, look, no, hang on. So if you're going to make a point, you've got to let me respond to the point. You want to have the final word, but the point is...
Well, I do. This is the show that I'm running here. We don't have loads of time, do we? Come on, Sir James.
Well, in which case, look, if you're going to make a point, you've got to let me to respond to that point. Otherwise, we can move on to the next question. Andy Burnham has been mayor of Manchester for years. Sadiq Khan has been mayor of London for years. Both of them spectacularly failed to build in the cities where people want houses to exist.
Okay. All right, on to the polling. Now, the latest MRP polling shows the Conservatives in 4th place if an election to be held immediately. Danny Kruger, who's just left your party, is right, isn't he? The Conservative Party is finished.
Well, those opinion polls ask the question if there was an election tomorrow, but there isn't going to be an election tomorrow. The next election is 3.5 years away. The Labour government is failing spectacularly at a shocking rate. It takes time for us as Conservatives to rebuild our relationship with the voters. We recognise that. Of course, in the interim, we've got Nigel Farage, who is a fantastic political communicator. He's very good at grabbing the zeitgeist, making completely undeliverable promises, which may be appealing in the short term. But as people move away from responding to opinion polls, which is one thing, to actually choosing who is going to form the next government, I think they'll realise that Nigel Farage cannot do it all by himself as much as he would want to, and the rest of the Reform Party just does not have the strength and depth to deliver for the British people.
Right. So you're seeming to say that you don't think that there will be a threat come polling day.
No, what I said was what I said, which was the election isn't tomorrow. What I've also said is we have got a number of years where we as Conservatives need to rebuild trust with the British voters. That's what we are doing. And building trust is not just about doing what Labour are doing, which is one set of undeliverable headlines, or what Reform is doing, which is a completely inconsistent set of promises. Because remember, Reform are saying they're going to cut tax and increase the benefits bill at the same time. That's just not credible. It's only the Conservative Party that is putting forward a genuinely credible set of proposals, which will be underpinned by proper thought and hard work. And that is what will set us apart from the other political parties when the next election comes in a couple of years' time.
Are we going to start to see some fleshing out of some of those policy proposals? There was a time when your leader, Kemi Badenoch, was saying that they're still working towards some of them. Conference is coming. Are we going to start seeing some more flesh on the bones of what a potential Conservative government would actually do?
Well, I think that's exactly what party conferences are about. Now, clearly, we're not going to set out the full agenda that we would deliver in government, but we are, I have no doubt, going to make some very clear and unambiguous commitments which show a direction of travel, to show where our priorities are, to show that we have got a credible plan to reduce tax, to protect our borders, to protect our country through defence spending. And we will show how we are the only fiscally responsible party, because you can't make tax-cutting promises unless you're also willing to say where that money's going to come from. Labour have failed to do that, Reform's failed to do that, and the Lib Dems will probably spend the time messing about in boats.
Oh, that's not fair, is it, Sir James? But we'll leave that there. They've got some plans, haven't they? Now, one thing that we have heard from you guys that you're quite clear about at this point in the cycle is that you would keep the two-child benefit cap in place. Now, as you know, scrapping that cap would pull some 500,000 children out of absolute poverty. It costs about $3 billion a year. Why is it that you would keep that cap in place and keep those kids in poverty?
There is a real problem with the public finances that Labour have brought about. So the decisions that Rachel Reeves has made in the Treasury has increased our cost of borrowing, and whenever the Labour Party, or whenever the Labour government has tried to do anything, even a modest change to the benefit system, their backbenchers prevented them from doing so. The idea that at this point in time we can significantly, and it would be a significant increase in public spending, the idea that we could massively increase public spending without even more tax increases is just nonsense. We know tax increases are coming this autumn. Starmer failed to rule out increasing VAT. We know that there's going to be an increase in the taxes on homes and home ownership. The Labour Party's already increased the tax burden on family farms. We know that they are going to tax. And if they're going to also increase spending, as it seems they might, those taxes are going to have to go up even further still, just at a point in time when we need to bring taxes down.
OK, so James, we only have a minute left, so quick on this if you could.
Well, there are no shots today, fellas. This is straight up scratch match.
562.
Foreign Secretary had said there's a prospect of a deal to stop the war in Gaza. What do you think?
Well, I would love nothing more than the conflict in Gaza to stop. But obviously, what we need to see is those hostages returned. We need to see Hamas no longer be a threat to not just the Israelis, but for people in the region. We need to stop Iran exerting its malign influence across the region. If these things are in place, of course, I, like everybody else, would welcome a cessation of the conflict in Gaza. But it has to be a meaningful cessation, and it has to be something that will stick.
OK. Sir James Cleverly, thank you for your time today. My best to you and your family, Sir James. It's good to talk with you, as always. Thank you. All right, do stay with us here on Sky News Today. Plenty more from Labour conference next.